Hello and welcome to the Soulful Mamas podcast. You're with your host Maria, and thanks for joining me today. So great that you are here. How are you doing? How are you faring in this cold, wintry weather? We've just been through our winter solstice and that beautiful full moon, and it was such a wonderful, incredible, potent weekend for me and our family. We had it was very much a almost otherworldly ceremony and some really deep connections, beautiful conversations, spent a lot of time with my spiritual family, which is always very soul filling. So I think I kind of feel like I'm still landing from that, which was quite special, but then coming back, recalibrating and changing hats isn't always the easiest. I think my children are the same. They got home a bit later today and both are a little bit, a bit wobbly, a little bit not as much patience as they would normally have, particularly with one another. And I just came outside and went for a little stroll outside, and it's beautiful. It's so dark, but the sky is clear and there's just this array of twinkling, glistening, glimmering stars in the sky, so you can't really be annoyed or frustrated for too long when you've got this magnificent sight above us. Anyway, so I might get them to spend a bit more time outside. Be helpful. What I want to share, inspired by those stars, is just speak a little bit about Matariki. And Matariki is the name of the star cluster in the sky, otherwise known as Pleiades in English and European countries, but known worldwide by so many different peoples and groups and countries, and they have many names but are the same star cluster. In Japan they're known as Subaru. How neat that it's their emblem on their car, those stars. I think that's so cool. The Vikings had names for them, Freya's hens. In China they were known as the Blossom Stars, and all throughout, everywhere, every place they are known. So they are seen worldwide, across the planet, and they have had such significance in all of these different, for all these different peoples. So exactly how powerful and how profound and the influence, wow, who knows? I think some people have a stronger connection with that star system than others, but they definitely have a strong, their relationship is very strong, for sure. They are, that star cluster, one of the closest to Earth. They're only 440 light years away, if you can wrap your head around that. And from what I've read, they are relatively new, so a new star system, so 100 million years old, and that's why when we see them through the telescope, they still have that blue, they have a blue appearance, and they have those, when you look at them, there's like this wispy, swirly energy around them. That is still the gases that originally formed them, apparently, because of their newness, and it gives them that real sharp, bright sparkle, and very beautiful. So that's some information for you. So for Matariki here in New Zealand, it's the name that we know that star cluster by. And we know that Maori, well, all of the Pacific Islands had a name for the star cluster. And so Maori, when they first came to New Zealand, they would have used, well, they did use the stars to navigate their way around. They were incredible navigators and used the stars to guide them. But their knowledge of Matariki, they would have taken from their original homelands in Hawaii, and as they travelled through and then landed here on the land of the long white cloud, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and they could obviously still see those stars, Matariki, they may have started to represent something a little bit different due to the climate and geography being quite different to where they'd come from. But still, those stars still guided them and informed them and helped them plan and prepare for the year ahead and honour the year that has passed. And those ways, they were forgotten for a wee while. I think it was about 1940 when it was last celebrated, and then in the year 2000 it was brought back, and it just gained so much momentum and traction, and so many people were, really resonated with this and hungry, if you like, for this to return, so much so that it is now a public holiday in New Zealand, which is amazing. So for 2 years now, we have Matariki as a public holiday. So that's powerful. When you've got a collective of people, when it aligns so much and that grows, that momentum grows, that those stars have a voice, and the voice is through the people. And it makes sense that every single New Zealander works with the Matariki stars in these ways, because it heralds the beginning of the Maori New Year, the New Year, which makes sense for us here in New Zealand. It's winter. In the Northern Hemisphere, the New Year is in winter. And for us, when we celebrate that calendar system, it's our summer. And we're outward, we've got all this outer energy. We're not inward, more introspective, and have time for that contemplation of, okay, so what seeds do I want to plant? What do I want to bring forth in the year ahead? And I do think that's probably why a lot of our New Year's resolutions done in January kind of fizzle out within a couple of weeks, because there's no substance or foundation to them. It's a fleeting thing, and it doesn't fully land and stay. Whereas when we have our new year in winter, it's a time when everything's done. The harvest is done, and of times of old, the harvest is done. Everything's in the pātaka, the storehouses, and it's time to come together, keep warm, tell stories, and think about the year ahead. Who's gonna go fishing? Where you're going to plant the kumara, all of that. But there's a moment of pause when you can breathe out a little bit and start to really allow those ideas, that inspiration to, whisper, come on through. And, our ancestors did this. And it's true, if we get in alignment with the season and the cycle and the rhythms of nature as they are showing us in the place that we are, where we live, if we can become back in harmony and in tune with that, it makes sense. It starts to make sense why we do what we do when we do it. And a lot of our celebrations in New Zealand have come from the Northern Hemisphere, and a lot of them are all great, but we often celebrate them in the wrong time of the year. So, for example, Easter in the Northern Hemisphere, it's all about new life, new beginnings, spring, spring, spring. Whereas for us here, it's autumn. Things are resting and starting to fall away. Yeah, so if we can make it make sense and be true, then it speaks to us. And I think that's one of the reasons this momentum from the collective here in New Zealand to have this bring Matariki, the celebration, back to its full glory, is because it makes sense. It doesn't matter, you don't have to whakapapa Māori to celebrate this. I think it speaks to every single one of us in some way. All of our ancestors worked with, celebrated Matariki by whatever name it went by in whatever land we came from, or our ancestors came from. So it's a truth, and it's all of us here on Earth connecting to this beautiful star cluster in the sky that has some profound significance for all of us, for life here on Earth. And as time goes on, we may discover even more about what that is. And I know some of you know more about that too, which is amazing. So, celebrating Matariki here in New Zealand. Just trying to. I go off on these little tangents and I forget what I've already said. There are 9 stars that we recognise here in New Zealand in that star cluster. For many others, it's just the 7 that you can see with the naked eye. There's actually over 500 in that whole cluster, but we can't see them with the naked eye. And that Matariki is obviously there all the time, but there's a month in the year that it disappears from our sight, that we can't see it, and that's autumn, late autumn, early winter. And while everyone's busy finishing the harvest and getting everything prepared for that deep winter, midwinter resting time, they are looking to that northeastern horizon to see the rising of Matariki, but not just Matariki, it's the winter stars in the sky that signal winter is truly here. And the first one generally is to be seen is Puanga, which is otherwise known as Rigel, and above the Orion's belt. And the other one, Takurua or Sirius, is another indicator of a winter star as well, often linked in with the winter solstice. So in that pre-dawn sky, you can see these winter stars. They mark winter, and when Matariki rises, it's time for a new year. And in that new year, it's about looking to the year that was and remembering, honouring the people, those loved ones who have passed on, reflecting on the year that was in general, and then looking towards the future for the year ahead. What seeds need to be planted, both in the garden and in our little heart and soul, and what hopes, dreams, visions, all of that, aspirations we want to bring forth for the new year. And then the present, the here and now, and in that now moment of rest and renewal, when the work is done and there's no need to be do, go, it's a time for that, I'll say it, the sacred pause. And in that there's introspection, there's contemplation, and coming in a knowing of where to next, and a real deep appreciation of what has been, and those people who have been in and now in another realm, and the present moment of being with your family, with your friends, with your community, sharing kai, sharing food around a fire, sharing stories, having laughs, singing songs, learning about our ancestry, family stories, connecting everyone to everyone. The children to have that where they fit, that sense of belonging, here I am. And so this is why this is really profound and so necessary for everybody, but particularly for Te Ao Māori, for our Māori people, our Māori whānau, to know, this is who I am. And it starts with that sense of belonging, and it starts with hearing those stories again, and how they came to be. And obviously that is true of all of us, for everybody, knowing that that who am I, and where have I come from, and who are my ancestors, and what gifts did they give, and what can I learn, what road did they have to path the way for us, all of us, every single human on earth, to be here right now. It's because of the road of our ancestors. And there's no judgment on them and their choices. They did what they did in their times, but this is our time now, in our present moment, and we can make links and hear the stories and create our own stories for our future generations too, and create the be good guardians, be good kaitiaki of our land, so that our future generations have beautiful, healthy soil and abundant gardens and abundant forests and healthy trees and animals and birds, all of that. So it's teaching our children about all of those things too, and our reciprocity with the earth, and of course that connection to all that is, including all of us people all together. So I really think this is such a important holiday, and I'm so happy that it's been recognised and acknowledged, and we get to come together and celebrate it. And it's a little bit like Christmas. You create your own tradition around it. It doesn't have to be so rigid that it has to be done in a certain way, and because if that's the case, people won't do it, because you'll feel like you're doing it wrong. There's you'll create your own traditions around what you do in this time. So for us, we will have a fire, and we will share stories, and we will share kai, and we will set our intentions, we'll reflect on our year. But we always go and do activities. So we're going to do a new hike that we haven't done yet, and we're going to go and visit the Moana. We're going to the sea, because we haven't done that in a while. And of course we will get up in the pre-dawn and hail in Matariki as they all rise again, and maybe sing a few songs, or do a bit of drumming, or a little karakia. But there's no right or wrong. If you go and join a community event, there'll be a process, and you can be part of that and get that real feel part of the traditional ways, which is really powerful. But for you at home, even just starting with one thing that you can do that can mark the beginning of a tradition that you do for Matariki, and that way your children know it's significant. It's not just a day off school, it's more than that, and it's part of who we are as New Zealanders. And this land knows those stories, and those stars know the story of this land connected to them. So yeah, I wish you a really beautiful Matariki, however you celebrate. And it's not just on this Friday, it's over, be over a few week period. It's just been given this Friday as a point of, okay, this has been, we can acknowledge it as a public holiday. I've probably left things out. I'm just, as I'm sitting here looking at the stars, they're kind of telling me what to say. Yeah, there is so much information out there now, so you can easily look online, ask questions, talk to people, get a conversation going about what you do and how you do it, and it just is connection. So more of that, and all of that. So you can reach out to me and share your ideas and what you do. I'd love to hear that. And yeah, or your own knowledge, experience that other people can learn from. All wonderful. So yeah, have a really beautiful, soul-filling Matariki, and I will see you again soon.